Travel back in time with a trip inside the Iowa's News Now vault.
It was an early 5:30 a.m. when 36 students and 8 teachers from Western Dubuque, Cascade, Beckman, and Leo high schools gathered in Dyersville to embark on the 10th annual Western Dubuque Western Trip. The soon-to-be seniors are picked during their junior year solely on the basis of how little they've traveled. So most of these teenagers we packed into 7 Suburbans had never been west of Des Moines. And they invited my photographer Gare Edwards and me to go along on this modern-day 2-week wagon train. The first day of our Western adventure was mostly travel. Took us 9 hours from Iowa to the Missouri River in South Dakota. And 4 more hours west of the Missouri River lay our destination, the Harold Krogman Ranch at White River, South Dakota. We really felt like a pioneer wagon train when we went off the road and literally over hill and dale headed for the Badland Rim, our first campsite. Oh yes, all but 2 nights of this 2-week trek found all 46 of us camping out. The first night was like the first night of boot camp. Everybody unfamiliar with their surroundings.
Okay, so let's take, or at least get up there and let's put our stuff in the back seat, and then we'll get the tents out. Watch your buffalo chips.
We put this one in, I think we can pop both at the same time.
Make it square. Don't chew them up. Make sure that it's landed when you put them in.
Oh, sorry.
Go off the curb. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Fortunately, the experienced teachers gave us rookies a helping hand.
That goes... No, that's a long one.
Oh yes, another thing that told us we weren't in civilization anymore was the Privy Patrol, detached to dig the facilities for this night with no little house on the prairie. But I have to admit, after getting some good grub, beans and burger, it was a great view we had sitting on that anthill.
Get away.
Yeah, they're all over here.
The next 2 weeks would be made up with visits with cowboys and Indians, famous landmarks, prehistoric digs, gold panning, sand dunes, wild beasts, and lots of Rocky Mountain highs. But this night it was still all ahead of us as we settled into our beds for a welcomed night's sleep. Tomorrow, a visit with a real son of a pioneer. I'm Cary the Iowa Traveler at White River, South Dakota.
When you're ready, Don, you can help us figure out...
I can only guess what went through Harold Krogman's mind as the old cowboy watched us pitch tents on his ranch our first night out. It was 8 years ago Western Trip organizers chanced to meet the South Dakota rancher at a gas station. It turned out relatives of Harold and his wife had lived in eastern Iowa before heading west in the early years of this century. Harold's father-in-law, Adolf Peter, a Czechoslovakian, came out here to Millette County, South Dakota in 1912. His father-in-law homesteaded in this old building. And it's the message of the pioneer spirit Harold likes to share with young people.
When the people settled this country, like my folks and my wife's folks, it was just wide open virgin territory, and there was no fences and there was no water facilities. They had to find their water or dig wells, and they had to do it by hand in them days.
How far does your land go this way over here?
Not right in here, this is mine right here. It goes over there, that land you can see where that other bad land is sticking out way over there. We'll drive around there, but that's in my pasture, and from there up to the highway up here.
Even though Harold is a cattle rancher, our students didn't see too much of his herd. Out here, each cow needs 18 to 50 acres to graze on. Consequently, the cattle are spread out over some 24,000 acres.
Well, I own a little over 8,000, but then we lease about twice that much, I guess, from the tribe, from the Indian Department.
To Iowans, this looks like the wide open spaces. The livestock Harold did show the group was a critter most didn't want to tangle with, a real-life prairie rattler. Later in the trip, some of the more daring campers ate rattlesnake for dinner. Harold's cattle also usually wind up on the dinner table.
Years ago, the cattle went to Iowa. A lot of them. I sold cattle in Mount Pleasant and Story City and in northwestern Iowa, around Selby and Shelton, and we sold cattle all over that country. But the last 6 years now, I've sent them to St. Louis, Michigan.
The thing most of us will remember about Harold's ranch is just how big it is, and how big his generosity is in letting us and past Western trippers spend some time here in Dakota country. Tomorrow, it's off to the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. I'm KGAN, the Iowa Traveler at White River, South Dakota. If you've never seen the Badlands of South Dakota, they're hard to describe verbally. So fortunately, we had our camera along and you can see for yourself some of Badlands National Park. Now, this Western trip isn't just for fun, it's an educational experience too. They learn about every stop they make, like here at the Badlands National Monument. What caused all of this?
A lot of wind and water erosion thousands of years ago and stuff, and just over the years it's just become worse and worse.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Not really, no.
Your backyard doesn't look like this?
No, not at all.
Nothing in Iowa looks like this.
Not that I know of.
Upon leaving Badlands National Park, we had our own brush with natural forces. We drove right into a flash thunderstorm. It was impressive. So far, it's been about 10 minutes of hail in the Badlands. Real hail of a fix. When we passed through the storm, we got out to find a rainbow waiting us, and we listened to a Western symphony of thunder. It was over as quickly as it had started. A little later, we crossed into the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation and stopped at one of the sites of less than glorious American history. The students visited the cemetery where the more than 200 Indian victims of the Wounded Knee Massacre of 1890 are buried. We spent the night at the Catholic mission on the reservation, where students got to visit with several modern-day tribal leaders, including Tuffy Sierra and Ogallala Sioux with a Spanish name. His message, that white and red Americans should and can work together today.
Many people like to hang on to those grudges and they keep that gap wide open. But if you listen to the silent majority, it's not there. I myself, looking for the future, for betterment of my people and my children.
Tomorrow, we travel back 25,000 years to the Mammoth site and Hot Springs. I'm KGAN, the Iowa Traveler, with the Western Dubuque trip in South Dakota. Imagine digging for prehistoric mammoth bones on your summer vacation. That's what the students on our Western Dubuque school trip saw here at Hot Springs, South Dakota, at the Mammoth site. The site was discovered only in 1974 when an earth mover digging a housing project struck a 26,000-year-old mammoth skull. Experts call it a major find.
It's the most concentrated bones in the western hemisphere of mammoths. It's very unique. These bones are not petrified when a lot of prehistoric bones are petrified.
So far, parts of 40 mammoths have been found, and as many as 100 may have died here in this Pleistocene pit over a period of 400 to 1,000 years. And this is the only in situ display of fossil mammoths in America. That is, bones left as found. Scientists tell us these mammoths were big guys standing between 12 and 14 feet and weighing up to 8 tons. A nonprofit corporation has raised money to buy the land and to protect this fragile site, now housed by this new 20,000-foot structure. They tell us they'll be digging here for the next 25 years, looking for more giant mammoths. So you've got enough time to plan a vacation visit. We were extremely lucky to be here during the 1 month of the year the bones are actually dug out. Jenny Mae Tucker is a 70-year-old grandmother and volunteer mammoth hunter from Jackson, Mississippi.
It is something that you can go home and talk about. It's fun. It's really fun.
Lucille Malka of Fair Lawn, New Jersey, hit pay dirt her first day on the job.
Yesterday I found my first bone, a rib bone. It's very exciting. You know, it's all yours, and you get to dig it out and to clean it off, and it's all yours.
You don't get to take it back to New Jersey, though.
Oh, no.
Sifters seek bits and pieces of this gigantic puzzle, while others record each inch of the site. Ancient remains of prehistoric rabbits, mink, prairie dogs, and Ice Age bears have all been found here. So if you're in the neighborhood of the Black Hills, plan to stop at the Mammoth site. It's worth the trip. I'm Cary the Iowa Traveler, at Hot Springs, South Dakota.
Our gold is very heavy. It's 19 2/10 times heavier in water, and it is 7 times heavier than a grain of sand of equal size. So every chance it gets, it settles to the bottom.
Ken Spring has been a gold miner for more than 50 years. He also makes a few bucks off tourists by allowing folks like us to pan on French Creek, the same creek where discovery started the Black Hills Gold Rush in the last century.
It's simply a process of keeping it wet, shaking it up, and letting the gold settle to the bottom of the pan. That is the main thing. So whether you have a pan, a rocker, a sluice box like this old box up here, or $1 million piece of machinery, the principle is all the same: agitation and elimination, and letting gold settle into a low spot.
If you see little flakes of kind of a gold-colored stuff, that's just mica. The gold will be yellow. It won't be gold, it's more yellow.
Ken claims panners can find nuggets here.
Down here the other day, a gentleman from Florida, he and his little boy, and they took out about a $5 nugget. It was about that long and about as big around as a round toothpick.
So they're there. You just have to find them.
That's right.
Goldfinger.
What do we do with the big ones?
He's the man. Mr. Ass. You know what gold looks like?
Do we get to keep what we find?
Oh, certainly, you can keep it. And there's just one thing: if you come up with some big nuggets here, be sure and report them to the IRS. Will you do that?
Okay,
huh?
all right.
Okay.
But here's what we were up against. This small vial of gold nuggets is worth $140. Here's what our whole group found. Dale Steffen discovered the biggest flake. What have you learned through this experience this morning?
It's long and tedious, and it hurts your back when you get down there to it.
Not what you wanted to do full time.
No, it'll be my second job.
School is even easier than this.
Yeah, not too much easier, but it's about the same.
There's actually 3 little flakes, not counting the one holding the pan, and that's the biggest one. So, eureka, I found it, gold. I'm Cary the Iowa Traveler in Custer City, South Dakota. You could say we were rushed at Rushmore. Our schedule was so packed we had only an hour at this famous shrine of democracy. It is impressive close-up, the resulting dream of sculptor Gutzon Borglum, whose crews carved it out between 1927 and 1941. Our next stop, Crazy Horse. Our trip there is what our Western Dubuque kids will probably remember most.
We pay by the vehicle here, so we want to keep it nice and tight.
So 40 of us crammed into 2 Suburbans for the 5-minute trip that for some reason seemed much longer.
John, move along, keep a stream coming.
Life on the road can be cruel. And what we came to see is Crazy Horse Mountain, the dream of the late sculptor Korczak Julkowski, who in 1948 was asked by Chief Standing Bear to carve a hero of the Red Man, Crazy Horse. In 40 years, 8 million tons of rock have been blasted from this work in progress, which, when completed, will be the largest sculpture in the world, dwarfing Mount Rushmore. Sculptor Korczak died 5 years ago, and the work continues by 7 of his 10 children and is supervised by his wife, Ruth, affectionately called Mrs. Z. You have an enormous amount of visitors here every year. What would you like for them to keep in mind when they leave here?
That it's an ongoing program, that it grows a little bit more every year, And don't come back in 2 years and expect to see it finished, but do come back and see the progress.
Plans also call for an American Indian Museum, university, and medical training facility to be established here.
And he so thoroughly believed in this dream that it was his whole life. It really was. As he said more than once, if it stopped because he died, then his life would have been wasted. But this is, everybody who comes in is really a part of history in the making.
Even though the sculptor is gone, the dream lives on, and the Iowa students who visited today just might see it finished in their lifetime. I'm Cary J. Hahn, the Iowa Traveler at the Crazy Horse Monument in the Black Hills of South Dakota. Custer State Park was our base camp for 3 days in the Black Hills of South Dakota. We hated to leave its scenic beauty, but more adventures lie ahead. On our way through western Nebraska, a strange landmark grabbed our attention.
Wow! Look at that!
Before our very eyes was the mysterious Carhenge. That's right, Carhenge. The giant C made out of old bumpers. The A, parts of an old U-Haul, plus a Plymouth radio. And the R, made out of several dozen hubcaps. And the word henge, made out of old insignias, Vega, Ambassador, Subaru. And while standing here, taking in this ancient automotive site, a family chanced by and realized they weren't in Kansas anymore. Now you've brought your video camera here. Are you going to show this to all your friends back in Kansas?
I'm going to show it to my dad. He's a mechanic and a car nut and has been all his life, so he'll get a kick out of it.
Are you glad you stopped to take a closer look?
Oh yeah, kids always enjoy seeing something different.
Will this be a highlight of your summer vacation?
Well, sort of.
There is no admission price here, so the price is right. Unfortunately, there are no tour guides to give us any information of the meaning of this. So to us, it's another mystery of the universe. I'm Cary J. Hahn, the Iowa Traveler, on the road west of Alliance, Nebraska, at Carhenge. The immense sandstone and clay sentinel of the plains, now called the Scottsbluff National Monument, greeted us as it has greeted travelers for some 10,000 years. After 1850, thousands of emigrants west passed this way on the Oregon Trail. About 60 miles west at Guernsey, Wyoming, you can still see evidence of the great trek, wagon ruts carved out in the soft sandstone. Our western Dubuque students could step back in time 100 years and imagine pulling a wagon and oxen up this grade. And nearby is Register Cliff, where pioneers carved their names. A Dubuque, Iowa fur trader named Matt is the earliest, carved in 1812. And members of the Dubuque Party of 1873 left their names, including a T.K. Kennedy. I asked Kelly Kennedy of Western Dubuque High School what she thought of seeing her name on Register Cliff.
Just that it was really neat to know that there is maybe my ancestors back there that long ago and how far they traveled and everything.
Has history come a little more to life to you on this trip?
Yeah, I learned a lot already on it. I think it was really neat.
Just up the road from the cliff is Fort Laramie, Wyoming, an Army post in service for more than 50 years until 1890. Today it's a living history fort where you can see original ruins and restored buildings. Do people have misconceptions of Fort Laramie?
Yes, sir. First off, they look for the wall. They've been so used to reading about the mighty walls of Fort Laramie, they look around, where's your wall? Then they expect, how about all those Indian attacks, which never happened? How about all those cavalry soldiers? Well, most of the soldiers here were infantry.
History tells us a severe lack of trees made a fort wall impractical. There were some cavalrymen out here, however, and Mike Pugsley portrays an 1876 cavalry private.
We do keep it very historically accurate, and we try to get the people that come with some sort of emotion about what it was like out here and what it was like to live out here, basically.
Reset. Arms. Cary. Arms. Break ranks.
The only problem with visiting these living history sites is that sometimes things get really out of hand. I'm Cary J. Hahn, the Iowa Traveler at Fort Laramie, Wyoming. When Paul Stewart was a kid in Clinton, Iowa, he always played an Indian because he was always told there were no black cowboys. After World War II service, he packed up his barber tools and went west to visit an elderly cousin.
I saw my first black cowboy, and I saw this tall black man with a cowboy hat on, boots, chaps, spurs. I looked at him, I touched my cousin on the shoulder and I said, "Look at that drugstore cowboy over there. Who's he trying to fool? There's no black cowboys." And when my cousin turned around, he was about 82 years old, he said, "Well, yes, Paul, he's a cowboy. In fact, he has a ranch outside of Denver. Has horses and cattle. He used to ride on the trails in the early days. Been around here for years."
And he now tells visitors, like the students on our Western Dubuque trip, that chance meeting has resulted in the establishment of the Black American West Museum in Denver. Paul has spent the last 30 years seeking out black history of pioneers, settlers, cowboys, and soldiers.
I have about quite close to 1,000 tape interviews. And then I got pictures of those people along with this, you know.
And all of this after originally thinking he'd be a gold miner.
That the gold I was looking for in the mountains was the gold of the history. And so instead of finding the gold that I thought I was looking for, I found out it came up in another direction.
Paul also turned his avocation into his vocation, becoming a lecturer in the Denver public school system. The museum is now in a city-owned building on Denver's east side, and his research is underwritten by various groups, including a grant from Rockwell International. All this as a result of his Iowa childhood, thinking there were no black cowboys.
What's the one thing you would like people to remember?
That the black people had contributed to the history, and in your history books there's no mention that black people had done any of this. And by these pictures that you see, and by the artifacts, it shows you that they were visible, although they were invisible in the history books and in the newspapers.
Paul Stewart, an Iowan who came west in search of gold, and he found it, black gold. I'm Cary J. Hahn, the Iowa Traveler, at the Black American West Museum in Denver, Colorado. The Great Sand Dunes are about 125 miles southwest of Denver. They're North America's tallest dunes and Colorado's biggest sandbox. We Flatlanders had a great time doing the dunes.
Sand dunes was about my favorite part of the trip.
Why?
Well, because when you get out there, you could go out in the open area and just go up the sand hills and roll down them afterward. It was unreal.
I like the sand dunes the best.
Why?
Well, because I really like climbing them because it was kind of hard. I ran out of breath pretty quick, and I thought they were really pretty.
The dunes are at 4,000 feet elevation in the foothills of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, so it was hard to breathe for us Flatlanders. Being lightheaded as we frolicked, I have expected to see Lawrence of Arabia.
Not too fast,
Well, the Great Sand Dunes is a nice place to visit.
but don't bring 35 practical jokesters along. I'm Cary J. the Iowa Traveler, at the Great Sand Dunes National Monument in Colorado.
Seeing the Rockies for the first time is breathtaking, and it made an impression on our Western Dubuque students.
Favorite part of the trip?
I'd say right here in the Rockies.
Why?
The trip to Emerald Lake was wonderful. You just got up there and you felt like you're on top of everything. Really a neat feeling.
I can't believe how big they are. Just seeing them, I don't have a word that explains it.
And it was just so breathtaking. It was so beautiful, and it was really relaxing and made me feel really good, refreshed.
Oh, for me, it's always the mountains. The Rockies. As I've said before, sometimes I probably should have been born 150 years ago. For me, it's just a natural high.
We all had Rocky Mountain highs, whether spotting a wild bull elk, experiencing the natural thrill of a mountain falls. Or identifying tundra wildflowers at 12,000 feet elevation.
There it is. Okay. What is it called? What's it called? You name it. We got it. Rhyburgia.
We have them there.
What are the yellow ones?
The
Rhyburgia.
yellow paintbrush is the other.
And warming up on a cool night around a warm campfire with warm friends. Tomorrow, come cool off with us on a hot August day in a cool Rocky Mountain stream. I'm Cary J. the Iowa Traveler in the Colorado Rockies. Okay, campers, take a cool mountain stream.
Let's go! Hey, what?
All right, take an ice-cold Rocky Mountain stream. Add 2 inner tubes. Stir in about 30 crazy people. And you have yourself one wild, memorable summer's day.
It's so cold! Can't stare with your hand!
Rolling, 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 oh, the streams are swollen. Keep them doggies rolling rawhide.
God, it was great. I thought I was going to flip over, but I didn't. It was just, no, it was really crazy.
Move 'em out, hit 'em up, move 'em out, hit 'em up rawhide. Cut 'em out, ride 'em in, cut 'em out, ride 'em in rawhide.
This creek, but it was kind of fun. Oh. I can't move.
Cut 'em out, ride 'em in, cut 'em out, ride 'em in rawhide.
You're shivering.
Never, ever again.
Too cold?
Yes, too many rocks.
Too many rocks, too bumpy?
Right.
Scary?
Yes, painful.
And this series isn't over yet. Stay tuned for 2 weekend reports to wind up our trip west. I'm Cary J. the Iowa Traveler at the Rocky Mountain National Park at Estes Park, Colorado. I really didn't know what I was getting into when Western Dubuque teachers invited me to go west on the 10th annual Western Dubuque trip. Over the 10 years, 365 students have now lived this experience, and now I know why it's such a special event in the lives of students and teachers.
In 17 years of education, it's the most exciting educational program I've ever been associated with. You see the kids get out into the West, you get studying nature, studying history, and they're having a good time. We give them a thick notebook of assignments to do and take them home and they say, it's not much work. You see them build friendships, build self-confidence. It's an exciting thing to do.
Well, when we started this thing 10 years ago, obviously the students were #1, and they're still #1. And I found a developing closer relationship with the kids. They find out that instructors, teachers are human. We have our own emotions. I've talked to some kids on this trip that probably more and closer to them than I had them when I had them in class.
For many of them, it's the first experience they've had away from home, and that in itself is a growing experience.
What has made you go on this trip for 10 years?
That's a good question. I guess the adventure and the kids, just the good feeling you get seeing the kids learn and excited about life rather than worried about life in general. It gives them a new perspective of life.
It all lends itself to one really close body.
Kind of like real life.
Yeah, only it's better than real life, I think.
Yep, better than real life. That's a good way to sum it up. It's a trip that I won't forget. It was kind of like the senior trip I never had. Tomorrow night, we'll let the students have the last word. I'm Cary J. Hahn, the Iowa Traveler, way out west.
You people are going to be predators. There's going to be a prey out there that you're going to go after for survival. To live, you need one prey in 1 minute.
Our Western Dubuque students had many assignments out in the field on our 2-week trip west. This is an example of how the teachers make it fun while learning. What's the object of this exercise?
I suppose the biggest thing is to appreciate what a predator is and find out just how much the animal is telling us. And sometimes we criticize the predators that go out and maybe prey on the deer or the little bunny rabbit and that, and we don't understand how rough a life they have. And also to appreciate the balance between predator and prey.
Now, the prey that these students are searching for is this soft-shelled caramel scattered all about.
19 caramels, Sally. How long did you live?
A long time.
How many minutes did she live?
19.
How long did she live? 6 minutes. You lived 1/3 of your lifespan because you what? Ate too much. How many did you need to take? You only needed 1 caramel. So if you took more than 1, you took more than you needed. The way to survive at this game would be what? What would you do if you were going to survive better, if you had another chance? Find one, pick it up, and look around for one and just leave it, right? Animals sometimes share their kills. We didn't even share, did we? We let them die, you know?
Sally, you were one of the longest survivors. What did you learn from this?
I'm a sow.
Meaning?
I could have lived longer if I would have not been so huggish and took so many at one time.
So that's a lesson hopefully you'll remember.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night, we'll wrap it up as students tell me what they like best about our adventures. I'm Cary J. Hahn, the Iowa Traveler, at Estes Park, Colorado. We all started out as 46 strangers. After 2 weeks of life on the road, a funny thing happened. The soon-to-be high school seniors, most away from home for the first time, became friends.
But you got to have friends. The feelings are so strong.
I liked all of the places so far, but the thing I like most is how we've all gotten to be friends. Like when I first came out here, I was thinking one more day without my family and friends, and now it's one more day less with my friends.
You got to have friends to make that
I know I've had a lot of fun on the trip, and it was a pretty good learning experience. I met a lot of neat people, and I know I won't forget them.
From the dusk till the dawn, here is where I'll stay.
We knew like the people at our school, but we didn't know them as well as we learned to know them. And just knowing the people from around our area was nice because we're close enough that we can still get together, you know, after this trip is over.
Standing at the end of the road, waiting for my new friends to come. I'm gonna get me some of them, 'cause you got to have friends.
I met a lot of new friends. I didn't think I would because, you know, I'm not that outgoing sometimes, but I met a lot of new people. They're all really neat and all really friendly.
Singing around the campfire, I really enjoy that a lot. I've gotten to know a lot of people, and I think I made a lot of strong friendships.
Yeah, I made quite a few new friends, you know. In the last couple of days, really getting to know them. Campfires and riding in the vans.
Think that'll last past the trip?
Some of them will. I hope they will.
And my thanks to new friends from Western Dubuque for inviting me along. And my thanks to old friend Gare Edwards, my photographer, for some great shots. I'm Cary J. Hahn, out west.